Well, it started, you know, knowing that this was going to be our 75th year for Camp Ocoee and realizing that a lot of camps don't stay around for 75 years. And we thought, well, we need to do something special. And I remember getting in touch with a couple of people, Dr. Robert Myers, for one, who had been coming to camp for a long time, and we knew each other, and just bounced the idea off of him. And he knew a couple of other old-timers, and it's kind of neat. We met at his house one day with a fella from the first camp in 1923, Willard Dye, and Glenn Ellis Jr., and Jim Hipp, and Norman Covington, and myself, and our assistant director, B.J. Davis, and Bob Myers, and sat around and just talked about camp for about an hour and 45 minutes, stories I'd never heard. And kind of from that, the alumni reunion developed, and we said, well, let's just have a weekend at camp and see how many old campers we could get back.
Well, Camp Ocoee is a unique place. Part of it is the setting on a beautiful lake, so the water activities, in the mountains. And the other important aspect is the people who have been here, the history, and then the Christian emphasis. In my early days, I think the teachings I got from Mr. Ellis and some of the impressions he left with me and some of the concepts, you know, have imprinted me for the rest of my life. The friends I have met here, some of them have been lifelong friends, and some of the leaders we had together, so it is a great place. And generations seem to come back. I have grandchildren coming here now, for example, and they love this place. So, and my children were here. They love this place. So we're in the third generation now.
Because God made. Because God made.
It's a kind of place that just can change a person's life, really.
Oh, I love Camp Ocoee. There's just no place else to be.
Sky so blue. Because God made the sky so blue. That is the reason. Maybe the most important is the spiritual aspect. I think God is very present here, and the environment and the people. It can make a real impact on you. I think the friendships may be one. I can think of some people that I was in camp with way back in the 60s that maybe I hadn't seen in 20 years now, but I still think of them as some of my best friends. You know, some of those friendships are very strong. I think a lot of self-confidence that I have today came from experiences I had at camp. Going on camping trips, places I never thought we would go, or carrying backpacks for 5 or 6 days you never thought you could do. And I think maybe some of these are some of the more important ones that campers get.
Well, I would have to say that Camp Ocoee is a Christian-based camp, you know, dealing with the YMCA, and that it's a good experience. It was a good experience for me.
We've always emphasized the spirit, mind, and body. That's the YMCA, of course. And I think of Camp Ocoee in those terms, too. We're close to nature here and close to God, and I just associate camp as a spiritual experience as well as being outdoor experience and all.
An awful lot has changed, but my son's been in camp here, and I know that the campfire circle is in the same place that it was many years ago, and also the chapel, which is a very peaceful spot with a very beautiful view, is in the same place. I hope the food's as good as it was many years ago. Lake Ocoee is still a beautiful place.
And I feel that we had a camaraderie here, sort of a love for each other and an accepting of each other, where we could talk about each other and laugh at each other's quirks that I haven't found anyplace else. It's a real unique group of people that were like family.
Yeah, I think it's just the friends that you make and the memories that you have that last throughout the year. It always gets you excited about coming back for next year, and it always makes you think of the good times that you had last year and hoping that the good times will just remain.
I think the experience that the kids would have when they come up here, it's just a very, very special place for a lot of people.
We first We first came to camp in 1938 for 1 week. And my father had died about 2 or 3 weeks prior to my coming up here. And somebody paid my way to camp. And I never have been able to thank them because I don't know who it was that paid my $7 or whatever it was, $6.50 or $7. But when I get to thinking about it, and it changed Camp Ocoee, that 1 week changed my whole life, really. Because I came back the next year as an assistant with Doc, and then we were leaders for 2 or 3 years, and just meeting the people and knowing Glenn Ellis and meeting all the people that we grew, that we were in contact with. It was tremendous. But Camp Ocoee, to me, it's an institution that ought to be here forever. It ought to be.
It's really neat for me to see my dad come up here and my mom, and then me come up as a child, as a family, and then now I'm here with my family, and it's kind of carries on through several generations.
I think the thing that remains true is that people come up here, develop friendships, have an unusual spirit. They sense it and feel it. They have a good experience, a lot of fun with interesting people, and they take that back with them. And that seems to go down from generation to generation.
Well, we've watched the camp grow from being a camp on the other side with the old water dock, with the deep swimming hole and the old mess hall. We've watched it grow till there's a new mess hall here, and now we swim at Shady Beach. And we've watched some cabins be torn down and new cabins be built. So I think we've seen it go from a much smaller camp to a bigger camp. But I would like for the future kids to have as much fun as we've had here and have a place to come to find peace and good friends.
All the friends that you make, everybody that you live with, this is a family. You're together for 10 weeks and you rely on everybody, a bunch of brothers and sisters. There's so much love between everybody.
Mr. Ellis. Mr. Ellis, of course, was my leader. I didn't know there was another leader other than Mr. Ellis when I came up here. And he was very quiet, a very quiet man. And he set a very good example, and he lived that example. But he knew how to talk to you, as, you know, me as a 15, 16, 17-year-old boy, and correct me very gently. But he also, I can remember him complimenting me and making me feel like I was on top of the world. He was an unusual teacher. He always had a devotion after breakfast, and he would talk about the Christian emphasis, but he was unusual in that sometimes he would say, "What do you mean by spirit?" And he would expand on, well, what is spirit? What's spiritual? What is being a Christian? What do you mean by being a Christian? He was a great teacher, really was.
Because I came here when I was a baby and grew up in the Y camp. When the camp was founded, we moved up here every summer and lived in one of the cabins. And so my camping started when I was about 3 years old. Well, I know Dad would have liked to have been here, I guess, to see the honor of this thing.
Everything looks the same. And that's one thing that I think about when you bring kids up to Ocoee. When they come away with an experience here at camp, it's going to be a great experience for them and something that they will remember for the rest of their life, just like I have.
Some of the things that I learned here and the spirit of this place, the friendships, the religious experience, actually being able to help some young boys sometimes formulate some of their values in life. I hope that I did. I don't, looking back, I might not have. But this was a great place. We had great fun. And I've appreciated over the years and really appreciate it more now than I did when I was young.
Telling one of the little boys a while ago over here at the slide, how they wish they'd had that in my day. That sure looked fun, sliding down that slide into the water.
I think it's great that they were here a long time ago and telling us the same kind of stories that we're doing now, and it's just incredible that something like this old is still around, still being enjoyed by kids of like every generation, every new generation of kids.
Well, I think Camp Ocoee has a great, and I think it needs to continue to grow in the spiritual aspect, and training boys and girls both now, and that respect.
The camp now has added features. There's a lot of improvements have been made. They now go out into hiking, some on the Appalachian Trail. There is a continuation of improvement on the programs, and it's a great place for kids today to come and have an experience in the outdoors and a Christian experience.
I think Camp Ocoee is a magical place, and no matter what people comes here throughout the years, it always has that feeling, that magical feeling that this is home. I'm sure I talked to a lot of staff this weekend from past generations, and they said they felt the same way. It's home. When you come in to the sign up front, you know that you know you're home, and you know you're at peace and ready for a fun-filled summer.
Camp Ocoee was a place to find some peace in a busy world.
Well, camp, I'm sure, will change in the next 75 years. You know, the buildings will be different. They'll have to be, and they're going to fall down before long. But some of the things, I know we had chapel this morning, and one of the girls there that was a counselor in the 60s said, I'm having a hard time explaining what I mean, but, and we all said, we know what you mean. It's a Camp Ocoee spirit, and it's kind of hard to describe, but it's just something about this place that kind of ingrains in your life, really. It's spiritual, mainly it's spiritual, I think, and knowing the important part that God plays here and in your life at camp. I think that's probably the thing that will stay consistent at Camp Ocoee, and I'm sure as long as God is #1 at Camp Ocoee, this camp will continue on, and everybody that will know what that Ocoee spirit is.
la 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 hallelujah, ah la 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 hallelujah, ah la 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 hallelujah, ah la 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 la. Hallelujah. Now you clap your hands and it makes it more fun, all right? Ah la 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 hallelujah, ah la 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 hallelujah, ah la 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 hallelujah, ah la 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 hallelujah. The first verse goes like this, and you sing it while you do it. Shake a hand with the one next to you, shake a hand and you sing la la. Shake a hand with the one next to you, shake a hand and sing. Everybody sing ah la 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 hallelujah, ah la 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 hallelujah, ah la